friends and frogs. How's everyone doing out there? Today is Thursday. How's everything going with you? One more day until Friday. How's that for you? You get to spend the weekends with your family in your home. I really need to clean off my desk. It's depressing me. Not depressing me in a way like I'm boo-hooing, but it's like stuff has got to get done. Okay, I got to get the energy to do it. I had a request in one of my last videos. Somebody had requested that I talk about how angry I was, or how did I know I was angry, and what did I do about it. Okay, so I want to go. I had a normal childhood for the most part. My parents divorced when I was 4. I was raised by my grandmother. My mom kind of disappeared for a little bit when I was between 5 and 7. Before then, we had some family issues that were not very kosher. So me being a 4-year-old child, I did not deal with them well. That person, in between the ages of 5 and 7, that person was outed of the family and disappeared. So I was, everybody was good, and I wasn't the only person that was affected. So, anyway, growing up as a child, I did not let that stuff bother me. Nothing ever bothered me. I was always happy. I said what I wanted to say. I was very brave. I was very. I also had some health issues when I was born. I'm not going to go into that either. I really am not. But my mom blamed my father for leaving because of my health issues, and it wasn't fair. So that took, again, it wasn't bothering me when I was a kid. It didn't bother me as long as I was a child. I had 2 kids out of wedlock. By the time I was 20 years old. And then I met my husband and I got married. And this is where I started to get angry. It wasn't none of my childhood. I don't want anybody to be like, oh, that's sad. Oh, this is sad. And it is a sad situation, but I don't think of it like that. I think of it now like I did when I was a kid. It's another page that I turned over, and it's fine. I'm fine. The thing that made me angry was that when I got married, I thought that was going to fix everything. I thought that I was going to be the little princess, the fairy tale wedding, and I'm going to get spoiled, and I'm going to get, he's going to love me, and he's going to do everything I tell him to. Of course, I was 24, 25, and I had 2 kids already. And then we had a kid a year after our marriage. And it didn't turn out to be that way. He was still who he was, and I was still who I was, and he wasn't. The fact that I got married didn't change anything. Nothing at all. He didn't cater to me like I felt like he should have. Like if I said I had a headache, and he's like, "Oh, I got a little one too," and I was like, pamper me, just pamper me, just love me, just pamper me. And it didn't work out that way. So that's when I started getting angry, and then nightmares. And they're not so much nightmares as they were reliving the things that happened to me as a child. So all this stuff was coming back in my memory, and I was having to remember it all, piece by piece. And I was having to call my mom at the time, and I was like, did we own this? And did, just clues that, okay, this was a real situation. Of course, throughout my whole childhood, I knew what had happened. I knew what the situation was, but I just chose not to think of it. And then to grow up and realize that my husband wasn't saving me from it. The man that said he loved me wasn't pampering me in the way that I felt like I needed to. So he was loving me his way, and I was expecting kind of that savior thing. So after I started getting angry, I started getting more and more angry with things that he was doing, not I mean, I would get mad if he breathed wrong. I would get mad if I could hear him chew. I would get mad. I have a noise. I can't deal with 2 or 3 different noises. Like if the TV's on, don't talk to me. If the radio's on, don't talk to me. I cannot. So I would get really angry if the radio was on. We're on a trip and all the kids in the background are talking. And then Mark wants to just start talking to me for no reason. And I'm like, no, 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 no. One thing at a time. One thing. I think I'm on the spectrum of like autistic because that really. But my children are now growing up. And my youngest one has the same thing. Don't have 2 or 3 different noises coming at me at one time. One thing at a time. I cannot. That secondary noise thing is just a thing. So I think, I'm not sure if it's the ADHD. I'm not sure if it's the OCD. I'm not sure what it is. And I did have really, really bad OCD, but it came from my grandmother. I got up every morning. I started cleaning, especially when I was pregnant and had to stay home from school. But I'd get up and I'd clean. I'd make sure everything was clean. I'd have the house clean by 12 o'clock. And it was like clockwork every day. I would do the same thing over and over and over. And when I got to my own house with children and a husband that wasn't worried so much about my OCD, it would mess up more, and it would take me longer and longer and longer to clean it, and I couldn't keep it clean. That frustrated me. That was frustrating because here it was in my brain. My grandma telling me my whole life, this is how things are going to work and this is how things are going to be. And then all of a sudden you get to a life and it's like that doesn't matter anymore. When she preached it, just drilled it into me, it does matter. So I did clean for a long, long time, and then I got really, really depressed. It really affected me to where I was sleeping for about, every day I would wait for the children to I'd get up and get the children to school. I'd get them to school, and I'd go back to bed, and I'd sleep till about 11 or 12 o'clock, and I'd get up and I'd clean up whatever I needed. So my husband wouldn't have to come home and be like, what have you been doing all day? And he really wasn't that way. He could care less if it was clean. He just wanted his dinner when he got home. So I cooked and I cleaned. I did all of that. And I still had no appreciation as a mom. I wasn't being told I was smart. I wasn't being told. And I never had that. Never, ever, ever did I ever have that gratitude being given. Even as a child, I didn't celebrate my birthday. Nobody celebrated my birthday. My dad did. I had a party with my dad when I was my dad had me between the ages of 5 and 7. And we had the birthday party, the one birthday party there. And, it was nice. It was a nice little birthday party. I remember it very well. But I never had that kind of party with my grandmother or my mom, or my grandmother would buy me presents, but I never got balloons, and I never got this, and I never got, wasn't just the thing, the focus of the party. Never had anything like that. Nana, my brother and my sister did, and it was annoying. It was just so annoying that they could have birthday presents that she's paying this much for birthday presents. I don't know. I just never had anyone to focus on me and say I was doing a good job. And then I grew up, and it was the same thing. I'm having to be a housewife to 3 children, 2 of which I had before the husband. And their father wasn't in the picture. I felt like I was just being a mom on my own. And he'd come home and he'd go to bed. Or he'd come home and eat and go to bed because he would work late. I just felt like everything was piled on me, but I wasn't getting the appreciation that I needed, that I wanted. It's not really what I needed. And then after I decided to get up out of bed, I guess I just carried the anger with me. I took it out on my kids sometimes, not in a mean way. I just was like very grouchy, very yelling and pitching a fit. But yeah, just really angry all the time about everything. Noise, the mess, nobody's nobody's appreciating the way I was raised. And it kind of just, why? Why? I want it clean. It's not my fault. I like clean things. I'm obsessively clean about certain things. Nobody's appreciating this. My husband's like, well, it doesn't matter. And the kids are like, here, I'm just going to mess it up 2 minutes after you do it. Really? Why do we have to? I wasn't allowed to be that way with my grandmother. Once it was clean, it needed to stay clean. You just clean up dust every day, that kind of thing. I don't know. And then I get to where I'm hoarding things in my anger. I'm hoarding things that mean something to me. So in the hoarding, which I've calmed down a lot. You can't tell from looking at this room. But anyway, I calmed down a lot with that. But in hoarding, you can't dust everything. You can't clean everything. Everything cannot be. So I don't clean as much as I used to because nobody cared. And then every time I cleaned it, it would just mess up again. So it would just get frustrating. So the OCD, I still have it. Even though my husband likes, and I know this is going to sound so mean, somebody just yelled at me one day when I told them about this at work. My husband likes to play with my brain. And again, I have this OCD type ADHD brain. I will, like if there's a product in the bathroom and I'm trying to find something, okay, if there's a product in the bathroom, to me, it has to face forward. My husband will be on the toilet or whatever, or like taking a shower, and then he will take things and turn it to the other side so that the back is facing. So I'm having to go to the bathroom and turn. I mean, it's frustrating. To him, it's funny. To him, it's funny to turn everything this way. But I'm like, in my OCD, I need to see it like this. And I've learned to not care anymore because he thinks it's funny. He played with my brain. Yes, it's mean. Yes, it's very mean. And he played with my mental capacity. It's kind of awful, but that's how it was. It's how it was. When my OCD, my mentality, my brain was not affecting him the way it affected me. He thought he was being funny. That kind of thing. So, how did I get out of being angry? How did I get out of being angry? I don't really know. I can't explain it. The one line that I have to take care of myself, nobody else is going to do it for me. The one line from that one book, that helped. But then I just want to live. I want to know. There's sometimes my brain still gets clogged or I get lazy. And I don't think. I just don't. I don't know. I don't think about it, but I just want to be happy. I want to laugh. I want to have a life. I want to enjoy. I miss so much. There's a lot of things, especially when the kids were younger and I was sleeping and they'd come home and do the homework that I don't remember. My oldest child is a boy. I don't remember him being 12, 13, 14. I don't remember because I was so deep into, and I hate looking at pictures of that era because I just can't remember. I can't remember. I remember maybe taking a picture, but when I see that, I just miss that much of him being that age because I was just so angry and so out of it. I don't know. Being angry also could be like menopause if you're of that age. It could also, I hope that nothing horrible has happened to you as it has I, that you can't deal with it. I really will pray for you. I hate that you have to go through that because everybody should truly find some kind of peace and happiness within themselves. You can't change anything. I hate it. I do. I hate it. But there's still sometimes I do get angry, but I don't react to it as much as I used to. I used to get angry if the day didn't go the way I planned it to. If I woke up and I made plans And my middle daughter's that way. My youngest daughter's that way. If she wakes up and her plans do not go just so, she's angry. She's gonna get irritated. I hate that I've passed this on to her, but and some of my depression I do see in my middle child, or I see in my oldest child as well. There are things that he can do that I'm like, oh, that looks so familiar. But he's happy. He's so happy for the most part. He doesn't let as much things bother him. I've only seen him cry emotionally like twice. So, and he's my boy. I love him. But I hope that answers your question. Just my marriage was not the fairy tale salvation that I thought it was, and I was going to have to fight more. You know, I wasn't able to celebrate myself. I wasn't able to quit fighting so much is what made me angry, I think. I just wasn't able to focus on happiness like that because I still had some fight to do, and I wasn't prepared for that after I got married. I thought being married would solve everything, and it didn't. It didn't. I didn't have that fairy tale. I had a fairy tale wedding, sort of. My dress was found in a dumpster. And it was a perfect size. It was a size 1, if you can imagine that. I was a size 1 when I got married. And everything just fell together. It was a very cheap wedding. It cost me about $100. It cost him about $100. It cost my mom roughly about $100. So we all came together and had this wedding. So roughly my wedding was about $300. And it was planned in 20 days, 30 days. I wasn't sure I wanted to get married. I wasn't sure, but he was sure. So I figured, heck, okay, let me get out of my mom's house, because that's everything she talks about is me getting out of her house. And again, I did have an older brother and an older sister that did, a younger sister that got, he was the oldest boy. He got everything. She was the youngest girl. She was celebrated. She was, everything to my mom. And here I was, the middle child, and not much attention was paid to me. So I figured I needed to get out. Of course, my mom had been drinking for many, many years, and she was picking fights with me. And I'm like 22, 23, 20, 21, and I have 2 children, and she's doing this in front of my children. And literally, it just was very disrespectful. And I had to get away. I had to get away from my mom's house before one of us went to jail. I love my mom. I don't hate her. I'm not mad at her for it. I didn't throw punches at her. So, but one of the things that later in years, she was like, I can beat your ass. Okay, Mom, I didn't throw a punch at you. I didn't even try. You're my mom. I'm not gonna. Just because you're drunk and hitting me doesn't mean I'm gonna hit you back. That's all. So that was that was my life. It was just, everything was just wrong, and it all came to a head after I got married. And I was angry. Daggone it. So I hope that answered your question. And if you ever just get angry, just again try to think of the positive. What did you learn? What are you learning from your anger? What is God trying to tell you? What is life trying to tell you? What is the lesson here? What is the moral of the story about you being angry? You're angry because the house isn't clean? Yeah. Yeah, I'm angry because the house isn't clean. I don't know. I hope the best for you. I have no answers. I really don't. Other than try to focus on the way you deal with it better. I do hope everything works out for you, and I do hope that you can come alive a little bit before before anything bad happens. life happens. You don't, it's so short sometimes, even though we may live to be 70, 80 years old, it's still very short, relatively speaking. We don't need to waste any more time being angry unnecessarily. We don't need to waste our children or our loved ones in the heat of the anger. I don't want to keep remembering the bad things over and over and over again. And that was part of my anger too, was like remembering the bad things over and over and over. I want good things. I want happiness. I want to laugh. I want to remember my children laughing. And I want to have as normal a life as I can before I pass away, before I have to get too old to not be able to do that, before, you know, you get older and you start deteriorating and in wheelchairs and on canes and things, and that's okay. That's okay. That's how life is. And unfortunately the price we pay for Adam and Eve's little debacle. But I wanted to make sure I had some good times before I got there, before I wasn't able to do them anymore. And I never ever want to say, like when I pass away, I don't ever want to think that I'm leaving my family and they're thinking that I'm just always angry for no reason, or that I didn't learn how to appreciate life. That's never going to be the case. I've learned. I'm learning, and it's a learning process. It's not always going to just be a quick fix, because it's not a quick fix. There's not a quick fix. Just anytime you're angry, think of two different things to make you happy. Whenever there's one negative, there's got to be two positives, because there's more to life than just the bad stuff. There's so much more happening around you. The grass is outside growing. That is a miracle in itself. That kind of thing. There's a sky above you. There's you didn't invent that. You didn't make that appear. That's something that somebody else made. That's somebody else's masterpiece. And I think that's something that we all need to be grateful for. That life is here. We're able to enjoy that. And we have such a wonderful God that made things so many different colors that we can go outside and enjoy and be in awe of nature, or be in awe of the things that He created. He created so many beings, insects, animals in different ways. They live in different climates and universes and different. I don't know how to put it. It's just so. I couldn't have thought of it, and somebody gave it to me to enjoy, and I want to enjoy it, and that's just how I have to think about it. I don't know. I do hope that you learn to be that way, that you can find something to be grateful for and thankful for, and live your life a little bit better. Anyway, I'm going to close for now. I do hope that you have a wonderful day. I do hope that you find that belly laugh, and that you find something, preferably outside in nature and God's work, that you can find that is just so amazing, that you can be so grateful for it. The leaves, the trees, the oxygen, just anything, just something. Just go into God's work and work on what's out there, because it's not your work, but this is the work that somebody has given to you. So I hope that makes sense. Y'all have the best day. Y'all have a wonderful day. Find something to laugh about. So find that big old belly laugh. Gotta have it. So find something to be grateful for. You've reached Cassie's Corner. I'm in my corner. I'm Cassie. Hi. If you have any more questions, please let me know. Please, I would rather answer your questions or help you with your problems than anything in the world. It makes me feel so good to know that I might be of help if someone. I hope I help. You never know. I could be a nuisance. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.